Hello, my name is Demedia Edwards, and I am a doctoral candidate at Baylor University. And I'm excited to present to you today my problem of practice dissertation. The title of my problem of practice dissertation is Systems of Support for the Novice Teacher, an explanatory sequential mixed method study regarding novice elementary teachers in urban settings and their experiences with mentoring and concepts of andragogy. Robert Meehan says it well when he wrote, "Teachers who love teaching teach children to love learning." At the heart of my research is understanding how we can support and empower our teachers so that they can be impactful in the classroom with our students. The problem of practice for this study addresses the staffing shortages that urban schools have in retaining and attracting novice teachers. So this study interrogates professional learning and mentoring as two critical aspects of effective onboarding to understand how they impact teachers in the A1 school district. My goal throughout this study was to find solutions and to be able to create recommendations that would help solve this problem. The literature review was designed to interrogate and understand what the literature, scholars, and research say about three specific topics. The first of these three topics is teacher attrition in urban schools. There are three scholars that stand out in the research and in the articles and literature that I studied. They are Linda Darling Hammond, Milnick and Meiser, and Garcia and Weiss. These individuals have written and contributed to the literature that exists on teacher attrition in urban schools. And because of their work, we have a deeper understanding of the dynamic problem that exists, that urban schools are more difficult to staff, and that the teachers have very, very unique needs for professional learning and mentoring. And despite this literature that exists, there is a gap that this research study can address. The second part of the literature review focused on teacher mentoring programs. And there are a lot of researchers and articles in existence on the topic of teacher mentoring programs, as they have been around since the beginning of time. And in our state of Texas, there's even a requirement, a law that states that novice teachers are assigned to a mentor. The literature reveals that there are still yet opportunities for schools and districts to create stronger mentoring programs. Richard Ingersoll, who is a professor of education and sociology at the University of Pennsylvania, is one of the writers who has written extensively and studied this topic at length. In addition to his work, one of the others noted is the New Teacher Center, which is a nonprofit organization that seeks to increase outcomes for students that are generally considered marginally served. And so these two pieces of research, or these two researchers and articles, have contributed to that work in the field. The third component and final component of the literature review was studying andragogy in practice. Andragogy is a term that refers to how adult learners learn. Converse to pedagogy, andragogy considers that adult learners enter the learning space with unique needs, with an orientation to learn, and as educators, as organizations, we have a responsibility to make sure that the learning that we're providing is geared toward the needs of the adult. Malcolm Knowles is considered the father of andragogy, and he writes extensively about andragogy and those principles that undergird this practice. Additionally, Miriam and Pappas have also contributed literature that helps us understand how andragogy in practice looks in the workplace. So now the purpose statement. My research is deeply personal to me because I understand that we have to consider that our students are not being served in the ways that they best need it. That we know the greatest determiner in the success of students is having a quality, qualified, and prepared teacher at the helm. And so this study is significant because it led to the development of recommendations that would assist the district and campuses as well in looking at the supports that are needed by novice teachers, particularly in urban schools, to make decisions to better support those individuals. The methodology utilized for my problem of practice dissertation is explanatory sequential mixed methods. A mixed method study employs both quantitative and qualitative research methods. And the interesting or unique part of mixed methods is that at the conclusion or at some point during the research, those two sets of data are integrated to create findings and results. Also unique to this type of study, explanatory sequential, is the start of the study begins with quantitative data collection. For quantitative data collection, I administered online questionnaires to all of the novice teachers that were in the elementary bands identified by the Human Resource Department. Each of those individuals received a link to complete a survey. The next step was that I began my quantitative data analysis by ensuring that the data was clean, eliminating any missing or incomplete data sets, and then beginning to look at the descriptive statistics and also looking at statistics that ensure that the data met all assumptions of normality. After completing the data analysis for the quantitative section, I began to think about my cases. Who were the individuals that I needed to hear more from to help me really understand the unique phenomenon that existed? That led to my qualitative protocol development. So developing and utilizing a tool that would help me to gain the insights that I needed was the next step. And then after that, I began to look at my qualitative data, and to ensure that it was accurate, I utilized a peer review process. I also recorded and transcribed all of my interviews, semi-structured interviews. The result of the qualitative data analysis was that I was able to memo and develop codes that led to themes and sub-themes from that rich data that was provided. And then the final step was the integration of both the qualitative and quantitative data. In doing so, I was able to find points where that data intersected and to use specific points of data to justify those findings in the process. The research questions are essential throughout any research study, and my problem of practice dissertation focused on 3 research questions. Because I used explanatory sequential mixed methods, I began with my quantitative research question. The question was, how did the typical novice teacher in the A1 school district describe their experiences with andragogy and mentoring? Which led then to the development of my qualitative research question. And that is, in what ways were the professional learning and mentoring opportunities provided by the A1 school district effective for novice teachers' development? And finally, my mixed methods research question is, what were the experiences of novice teachers provided by the A1 school district in respect to specific principles of andragogy? And I looked at specific principles of learner's need to know, orientation to learning, and self-concept of the learner. And finally, what were the novice teachers' experiences with mentoring? Each of these questions was essential to guiding the conclusions and results that were found. Next, I want to outline some of the major takeaways from each of my research strands. I'll begin with the quantitative research findings. By measuring those 3 principles of andragogy and using SPSS statistical data, I was able to find that learners' self-concept was the highest of the 3 as rated by my participants. When I look at my qualitative research findings, my semi-structured interviews, I was able to develop or to raise forth 3 themes, the themes of connectedness, instructional support, and internal motivation. And then I was able to go back through those rich interview data sets and to look to see how that showed up in each of my participants' data. And then my final step was my integration. And so as I looked at the findings of my quantitative data set and the findings of my qualitative data set, I was able to establish that there were 3 places where this data intersected. And I landed on mentoring, that novice teachers have a strong desire to be mentored and to receive that support from a peer or another staff member. The second is the social emotional needs, that novice teachers need to feel connected to their work and they need to feel that their needs are considered in professional learning. And then finally, the professional learning with concepts of andragogy again appeared in both strands. Our teachers need and crave the professional learning that considers their needs as adult learners. So the findings led to some implications. And so because my research was situated in the A1 school district, my implications are geared toward how the A1 school district can restructure or implement new ideas to better support the novice teachers. The first of them is the development of a strategic mentoring program. The new Teacher Success Academy will cultivate positive collaboration between mentors and mentees, and also address the need for job-embedded coaching, classroom management, and SEL training. So this program would be a multi-year mentoring program in which mentors and mentees are able to develop deep and sustaining relationships and support in support of the novice teacher, also creating leadership opportunities for mentors. The second implication is the need to develop a professional learning track for novice teachers. Novice teachers in the A1 school district, which is an urban school district, will benefit from having opportunities to be self-directed in their learning and to engage in content. In doing so, by creating this strand for novice teachers through the mentoring program, novice teachers will have access to a bank of trainings that are specific to the needs of novice teachers, such as how to implement grading policies, how to create quality lesson plans, instructional framework training, classroom management training, etc. And then additionally, these sessions will engage our novice teachers in foundational learning that's necessary for their success in urban settings. And so providing the cultural aspect or cultural opportunities for students to learn about for novice teachers to learn about their students is another essential component of this proposed learning. The plan to distribute these findings has 2 groups that are targeted. The first is the executive leadership of the A1 school district, and that is the superintendent and all of the chiefs that oversee major departments and areas. This is the decision-making group within the district. It's essential to be able to have their support and stamp of approval in order to then partner with the Human Resources Department to create a task force that would outline what this would look like so that this could potentially be executed in the fall of 2022. In conclusion, teachers in the A1 school district need mentoring, and they need specially designed professional learning to ensure that their needs as novice teachers in urban settings are met. A1 school district leaders have the potential to really increase teacher capacity and improve retention by focusing on these 2 critical supports. I am Demedia Edwards, and it's been my privilege to share with you my research and my findings, and I appreciate your time and your attention. Thank you very much.